Hello, dear students. I am Samir Velankar. I welcome all of you to this another video of binary search tree, in which we will learn recursive functions for writing in order, pre-order, and post-order traversals. Just in the previous video, we had learned how to find out in order, pre-order, and post-order traversals of any given tree manually. Now here we are going to write functions in C language, and these functions that we have written are recursive because you can easily see that the in order function which has been written inside the in order, there is a call to in order two times in fact. But most importantly, in order function calls in order again. So it's a recursive function. Similarly, we have written pre-order, which is also recursive. Check that pre-order is calling pre-order again, and post-order is recursive. It calls post order again in itself. So all these three functions are recursive functions. Now I have constructed a binary tree over here. It's basically a binary search tree because you can see that lesser values are stored to the left of root and larger values than root are stored to the right. So this is a binary search tree with nodes having some addresses in the memory. So to keep it simple, I have assumed that the of 10 address of 10 or this node is A. You know that the addresses are never like A, B, C, but to keep it easy, I have labeled the addresses as A, B, C, D, E, F. So address of 30 is F. Actually, it is going to be some byte number like 30,000 maybe. And secondly, you know that whenever you have a binary search tree or binary tree, always there is a root pointer. The root pointer will always point to the root node, the topmost node. What that means is root node is going to store the address A. The address A is the address of 10 which root is storing. So in the entire tree, we know only one node. I repeat, in this entire tree, we know the address of only one node. That node is topmost node and the address is given by root. Okay. Now our aim is we want to do in order traversal on this. Now before we actually run through this in order function recursively, I would like to tell you how easy it is to write in order function. Check that the in order function has a parameter struct node pointer p. That means we are going to pass a pointer which can point to a node. All these 10, 5, 20 are basically node structures. So we will have a pointer p which can point to a node, and this p is going to be initially root. So please try to understand. I'm so sorry for this. Please try to understand what we are going to pass. What we are going to pass in p. This pointer p is going to be initialized, or rather we are going to pass root to it. In short, in order is going to be called as in order bracket root. From main program we'll call in order and we will pass root to in order. So that root pointer, this pointer is root pointer, will get copied in the pointer p. Okay, more about this when we trace in order. But what we next write is simply a brace open, and in this braces we write an if. If that pointer p is not null, only then we execute in order. Check the open brace and close brace of if. So the parameter p is tested for null. If p is not null, only then these things are performed. And look at these things which are performed. You recall the rule for in order is LVR, isn't it? Left, left, vertex, and right. Now what we have done for left over here is we have called in order recursively. In order is called recursively with left branch, and left branch can be gathered by using left pointer on the pointer p. So p arrow left will take us to the left child. After L, the procedure said that you can print the vertex. So vertex is printed over here with %d format, and p arrow data. Remember, data is the element in the node which stores integer value. And after printing vertex, we are calling for write. And write is nothing but call in order recursively with PRO write. PRO write is going to take us to the right child. After that, end the if statement with close brace and end the function. Now, why am I discussing this? Please try to understand. It is very much visible. You might be thinking, why is sir speaking on this? We can easily read this. Yes, I know, I agree. You can go through this, you can read this, but you observe magic of recursion. The process of in order was LVR, and how easily we have put left branch, print vertex, and right. Left branch was a recursive call to in order with PRO left. Right branch was recursive call to in order with PRO right. And vertex was printing the data, that is PRO data. Now you observe how it nicely fits with pre-order. Observe pre-order. What is the rule for pre-order? Rule for pre-order is VLR, vertex left right. So the all process remains same. Pass root to pre-order. Of course, root also has a parameter P, which is a pointer to node. Observe P is a pointer to node. We are going to pass root pointer, which points to the topmost node, and that root pointer will be copied in the pointer P. And then the pre-order function is going to check, is P not null? See that we will do the process only if P is not null. So if P is not null, we will print the vertex, PRO data, that is V, and then we will easily jump to left branch. But how do you jump to left branches? Call pre-order recursively. The same function is getting called with left branch is PRO left, and call the same function pre-order recursively with PRO right. The same function pre-order is called with PRO right, and then end the if and then end the function. So now it is waste of time to tell you how post order is written, isn't it? You can see the same parameter P which copies root. If P is not null, we will write everything, we will execute, and the rule for post order, remember, is LRV. So L is move left or visit left by calling post order, the same function within itself with left branch, call the same function post order with right branch, and then print the data, that is print the vertex. So overall, what I wanted to suggest is it is very easy to remember pre-order, post-order, and in order because the names LVR, LRV, or VLR themselves suggest what are the places for various statements inside these recursive functions. Now come to the process of this recursion. It's not going to be anything extraordinary, believe me. But then you just observe how difficult this in order function might be initially for any reader. Just to give you a taste of the difficulty, I'll tell you what happened with me when I was an hosteler. I remember late in the night I was studying about this in order function, and I wondered that okay, if I start in order, okay, I'm running in order, here I go, I'm running in order, and in order calls itself again. Look at this line. In order is called again. So what I did as a student, I went back to in order again, and in order was started again by me. Then when in order got started again, oh damn it, in order was called again from here. Then again in order started and in order was called again from here. So as a student, I started thinking late in the night that if this in order line here on which mouse is hovering is going to go back to in order again, then when are these lines really going to run? I hope you are understanding the complication or complexity in understanding initially about these recursive functions. But trust me, this is so easy. If you actually literally run this line by line, let's run in order. Okay, how is in order called? In order is called by passing root. Literally, root is copied in the pointer P. So I will show the recursive call like this. In order is running with the parameter P, and P is literally A. Are you understanding? P is A because check the diagram. Root is storing address A. So P, the pointer P, is literally going to store the address A. What that means is there will be a new pointer P in the memory, and P will also point to the same location where root is pointing. Indeed, P is equal to root, isn't it? So P pointer points to the same node where root points. And now in the in-order function, P is going to do all the dancing. It's going to go left, right, and all that. But we are going to have root safe. Root will be still safe at the topmost node. We are not going to move root. That's why we have copied root in the local pointer called P and let P do all the dancing. Okay, let's go inside the in-order function. In-order will now check, is P not null? Oh, surely P is not null. Come on. P is pointing to this 10, isn't it? So P is not null, is true. So all the lines written in the if will run. But the very first line written in the if is called to in order. So in order function which was running, check this, in order function which was running calls in order again. And what are we passing to this in order? Observe, we are passing P arrow left. Carefully see what is P arrow left. Check the mouse position. P arrow left. This left pointer we are talking about. The pointer left stored in the node 10 we are talking about. And what's that pointer pointing to? That pointer is pointing I. In fact, the pointer over here, which I'm talking about, the left pointer is storing address B. I hope you understand. What is left pointer of 10 storing? The address of I, and address of I is B. So we are literally throwing the address of the left child. Call in order by throwing the address of the left child of 10 where we were. Left child of 10 is at B, address B. So the pointer P in the in order, parameter P, check this. This in order call will call in order again, and the pointer P is now going to change, and the pointer P is now going to store address B. I hope you got this. So in the memory, there is a pointer P again, and it points to the address B. Please stay with the fundamentals of pointers and recursion. Recursion states that now there will be a new parameter called P and the earlier parameter P which is pointing to 10. Observe this parameter P pointing to 10 is still alive. This pointer is not deleted, and we have got a new pointer P which points to 5 because pointer P is local to every function. So whenever a function starts, it will create its own pointer parameter P. So pointer is at B and pointer is at A, but in different functions. Please try to understand that. Okay, let's start with in order P with P at B. If you start the function, P is not null again, observe, because P is pointing to B, that is 5. So come inside the if and call in order recursively. Now what are we throwing to in order? P arrow left. Now observe, we are talking about P at B, P arrow left. This left we are talking about now. And that left is indeed address of 2, that is C. So we are passing literally address of the left child, and in order is invoked again. So in the process, in order calls in order again, and in order called is with parameter P, but P is equal to C now. P is literally pointing to C. So we have got 3 functions active with in order P with P at A waiting, in order P with P at B waiting, and in order P with P at C now actually running. This in order P with P at C, P pointing to C is running. Let's start this function. In order and P is pointing to C. If you start the function, P is still not null because P is very well pointing to C. So we come inside the if and execute the recursive call. This time we are passing in order P arrow left. Now observe, left of P is null, literally null. So what we are passing exactly to the new in order call, the recursive call, in order P, where P parameter is literally null. I hope you got this. When this call was made, in order P arrow left, in order P arrow left means P arrow left means null here, isn't it? So literally null value is passed to P, and in order now starts, fresh in order starts with P as null. So let's start this fresh function. In order P with P at null. If you run this function, the very first if return, if p not equal to null is false, because p is null now in this function. So none of these functions will run. I hope you agree. The if is false. So none of these statements will run, and if will end. Now, if ends and the function ends. It's so simple, isn't it? The function in order has finished. If in order function has finished, there were four in orders, isn't it? But which in order are we talking about? Obviously, the one which was running with p equal to null. So I am striking out in order function is over. When p was null, it did literally nothing, because if statement was false, none of the statements written in the if executed, if ended, and after the if there was end of the function. So you know, in recursion, whenever a function ends, always the calling function resumes. So let's get back to in order. Now you please try to understand, we are back in the in order function. That in order function in which p was pointing to c. Pointer p was pointing to address c. We are in that in order. So when we are back in the calling in order function, what will this calling in order do when we are back in the in order? Listen, it will resume with the work which it was doing last time, isn't it? So what was the work that in order was doing? Remember, in order left from this line, isn't it? It went back to in order. So when the in order function will resume, it will obviously resume from printf. I hope you are listening properly, isn't it? Because last time when the in order left out, it left out from this call. So when it will come back again, when it will resume, it will say, hey, I will resume with the next line. So next line is printf, and it is printing data, p arrow data. Now please try to understand, p arrow data here is 2. The function in which we are talking about is 2. So the first output printed by in order is 2. Okay, then what happens after that? After printf, there is again a line called in order. Oh, good Lord, look at that. In which function are we? Check the mouse cursor. We are in order p, where p is at c, isn't it? We are in this function currently, and this function successfully printed to printf is over. And now the next line runs, which is in order p arrow right. So p arrow right over here, p arrow right is null, you observe. What that means is, in order p, where p is at c, will now call in order again. This is the second call to in order from the same function with p as the parameter, but we have literally thrown p arrow right, and p arrow right was null. Observe, this 2's right is null. So now what happens when this in order p runs with p equal to null? When the function with p equal to null runs, observe the parameter p is null, nothing happens but the function ends. Because the if statement, if p not equal to null is false, p is null now, isn't it? So these lines will not run. All the three lines written in the if won't run. If will end and function will end. So remember, from now onwards, whenever in order function is called with parameter p as null, it doesn't do anything but simply ends. And after it ends, after the in order ends, obviously the calling function resumes, isn't it? Who called this in order p where p was null? Obviously, yes, this one where p was at c had called that function. So we are back in order p where p is at c. I hope you are getting it. Now, when we are back in this function in order p with p at c, what happens then? Which line resumes? Yes, exactly. The close brace here resumes. Because last time when in order, this one, in order at 2 was running, it went out from here, isn't it? It was doing its right recursive call. So when the function for p at 2 will resume, it will say that I will continue with the next line, and the next line is end of the if and end of the function. So finally, in order p, here I am striking it out with p at c has been finished. I hope you got it. Very important thing happens now. If this function in order p with p at c ends, then the local parameter of that function is deleted. This is so important and so interesting to understand. See, why was this P pointing to C? Come on, because the in order was running with P. The pointer P was pointing at C. But now that in order function has finished, when the function finishes, the parameters of that functions or local variables of that functions are simply deleted. All right. So in order P with P at C is finished. So we will be back. Oh, I'm so sorry for this. We will be back at the calling function. And the calling function was in order P with P at B. Look at this. Look at the mouse position. If in order 2 ends, we will be backtracking to phi. We will be backtracking to the calling function phi, where now P is pointing to B. P is pointing to address B, and we are back in this function. Okay, if we are back in this function where P is pointing to phi, what will happen? What will this function do? Remember, last time this function went out from the left recursive call, isn't it? Many students ask me, sir, how are we going to remember what was the function doing? It's becoming so confusing. No, no, it's not at all confusing. When you are back at phi, you can easily know from where will phi resume. Because you can see when you were last time at phi, you went to 2, isn't it? Which was that path? That was left path. That was path towards the left, and you are coming back from the left path, isn't it? So when you are back at phi again, when you are back in this function, it is so easy that you will resume after the left recursive call, because you have just now come back from the left child back to phi. I hope you are understanding. So the printf statement will resume in this function where p is pointing to phi, and the next data printed will be phi. Hope no problem, no questions. You are following this video properly. Now, after this printf, there is another call to in order. You watch in order p arrow right. Either way, we are in this function. Hello, we are in the function phi where p is pointing to b. Observe, we are back in this function and we have just now successfully printed phi. So, what will in order p arrow right mean? In order p arrow right will mean address of 8 is passed, because p arrow right, p arrow right is storing address of 8. Address of 8 is D. So I'll clean the slate a bit. All these recursive calls are over. Oh, I scribbled a lot as my habit goes. Anyway, but all these in order calls are over. Okay. So now what's happening? In order P with P at B is calling its right child. It's calling its right child, isn't it? So if it's calling its right child, what is going to be the recursive call? Let's see. In order P resumed and it printed phi. After printing phi, it has called in order for D. So in order is called again with the parameter P and P pointing to D. So there is a new pointer P which now points to address D. So we can say in order for 8 has begun now with P pointing to D, P pointing to 8. Okay, let's run this. With in order P, P pointing to 8 or P pointing at run this function, you will see P is not null. Obviously, because P is pointing to 8. Observe the picture. And P is storing address D. So P is not null. Then you will go inside the if and you will call in order with P arrow left. But what is left of 8? What is P arrow left? P arrow left is null. It means we are calling in order literally with null value, and null value will go in the parameter P. So in order P with P at D has called in order P with P equal to null. And you very well know what happens with the in order. If it is called with null value, the if statement is false and nothing happens but the function ends. So I'm striking out this function. The function in order P with P at null ends, resuming the calling function. So if the calling function resumes, listen, we are back in the function where P is pointing to D, that is 8, and it will resume from the printf. So it's going to print 8. I'm sure by this time you have understood the process. And you can obviously fast forward this, but I will salute your patience if you go through the entire explanation. So PRO data, that is 8, has got printed, but now there is another line in order PRO right. We are talking about right child of 8, which is null. That means the in order P with P at B, sorry, with P at D, I'm so sorry, is going to again call, is going to call in order P with null, because right child of 8 is null, P is null. And you know what happens when the function is called with null value? It simply ends giving the control to the calling function. The calling function is still in order P with P at D. Now, you just tell me, think over it. If this function has now again resumed, in order P has resumed with P at D, that is 8, from where would it resume? Yes, this time you are correct. It resumes after the right recursive call. Because remember last time when in order 8 or in order P at D was busy for this node, it went for its right recursive call. So when 8 resumes again, when the function resumes, it will resume from the next line, which is end of if and end of the function. So most importantly, in order P with P at D is over. This function has also finished because it has successfully finished all its lines. One very interesting thing again happens. You know that in order 8, in order for node 8 is over, so its local parameter which we had created will be deleted. All the garbage value is gathered, isn't it? Okay. So in order when finishes resumes with its calling function, and the calling function is in order P with P at B. So listen, after ending 8, after ending in order for 8, we are now backtracking. We have come back to 5, that is P is now pointing to B. I hope the things are becoming clearer. What is the function in order P with P at B going to resume with? It's going to resume with the last line, close brace, close brace. I repeat. Students often say, sir, how are we going to remember what was this in order phi doing last time? It's so easy. From where did you come back to phi? From where did you come back to this function which was operating on phi? You came back from 8. From 8 you backtracked, isn't it? So surely last time this node phi, this recursive function which worked with phi had already done its right recursive call. So if phi resumes, it knows that it has to resume from the next line, which is end of the function. So importantly, in order P with P at B also ends. And if it ends, it kills its local parameter. Okay. Now, if in order P with P at B ends, obviously in order P with P at A resumes. See, in order phi has been over. So we are back at in order A, where P was pointing to A. Long time back, 25 minutes back, we started from here. Okay, I repeat, I would salute your patience if you are genuinely listening. And in the classroom, you believe me, I normally take one hour or 1.5 hours to explain this process with active discussion between the students and me. Anyway, I'm erasing these in order calls which have been over. So the striked out in order calls can be cleaned. And we are back in order P, where P is pointing to A. Tell me from where does this function resume now? Last time we left out this function, isn't it? From where will it resume? It's so easy. You have come back to 10 from 5, isn't it? From 5. So last time surely 10 has finished its left recursive call. So if 10 resumes, it will resume from printf. So the next data printed will be 10. Okay, let's make it fast now. What's the next line? Next line in the function for p pointing at a is right recursion. That is in order is called with p arrow right. P arrow right is nothing but address of 20. So in order is going to again call in order p with p pointing to e. So there is a new pointer p and new function begun. And now we are operating on this node 20. If you start the function in order with p pointing at e, first things first, you will check is p not null, which is true as p is pointing to e. Then you will call in order for p arrow left. But observe 20's left is null. So in order p with p at e is calling in order p, but p is null. As p is null here, the function will simply terminate and giving permissions for the calling function to resume. And the calling function will resume from printf because you have just now come back from the left recursive call back to 20. So the printf is going to print 20. And then there is a write recursive call. In the same function for 20, there is a write recursive call. So in order is called with the address of write child, p arrow write, which is f. So after resuming this in order p with p at e, you can see that in order calls itself again recursively, and this time in order p, where p is f, we have passed the address of the right child. So there is a pointer p again, which points to f. New function has begun with in order p pointing at f. That means we have started our process on 30, node 30. I hope you are getting it. If you start this, first things first, it will check is p not null. So I am now reading out very fast. P is not null, yes, because p is pointing to f. So it will call in order p arrow left as if is true. But in order p arrow left means in order null, because left of 30 is null. As p is null, the function simply terminates. If the function terminates, the calling function resumes, and the calling function resumes with printf, and printf is going to print data at f, at the address f, data is 30. Now after printf, there is another recursive call in order p arrow write. We are talking about write child of 30 because that's the function in which we are. But write child of 30 is also null. That means in order for p equal to f is going to call in order null again, in order p with p equal to null. But the function will simply terminate because p is null, and the calling function resumes. The calling function is the same function which works for f, or rather 30. And the function will terminate because we have finished all lines, left recursion, then data printing, and right recursion. We have finished. So this function, in order where p was pointing to f, is finished, and the garbage collection is done. As I'm erasing this pointer p, it's of no use because the function is over. Now when the function for p equal to f ends, obviously we are back to the calling function, and the calling function is in order p with p at e. Come on then, come on, this is your turn now. If in order for p equal to e resumes, this function is now resuming. From which line will this function resume? Yes, this will resume from the end of if and end of the function, because it is so easy. You have come back to 20 from the right child 30. So last time 20 has finished its right recursive call. So 20, in order for 20, not 20 or p equal to e is also finished, isn't it? So now let's destroy the local. Let's destroy. I'm so sorry for this. I'm so sorry. Let's destroy the local parameter p, the garbage collection. And now, as in order is over, we are back to the calling function. The calling function over here is obviously in order for p at e. Look, we are back to 10 now. We are back to this function. And this function will obviously resume from the last line, end of if and end of the function, because we have come back to 10 from the right child. So last time 10 has finished its right recursive call. And you remember, after the right recursive call, if 10 resumes after the right recursive call, it is nothing but end of if and end of the function. So most importantly, in order with p equal to a is also over. If in order for p equal to a is over, the local parameter p is destroyed. And most importantly, main resumes. Are you understanding this? Main resumes because main had called this topmost function in order for node 10 or in order for a. That's the way how the entire recursive process has finished, isn't it? So that's the way how in order operates. When we come back in the next video, we will be going through the process of pre-order and post-order. But listen, we are not going to trace pre-order and post-order throughout like we have done here. No, 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 it will be insult of your intelligence. In fact, I will ask you a few questions, taking some pause, and you try to answer and justify whether you have understood the recursive process in order. Hence, you can easily understand on your own recursive process pre-order or post-order. Thank you very much.